The video you are about to watch is part 1 of an ongoing series exclusive to Patreons and YouTube members, in which I will be providing a behind the scenes commentary for all of my biggest videos. Part 1 of this series, this video, is available on YouTube for free as a way to showcase some of the really neat goodies you gain upon becoming a member of this channel, and since I am promoting my own things, there will be no adverts in this video, so enjoy. Hello, and welcome to my very first developer commentary exclusive to Patreons and YouTube members. Thank you very much for pledging. This is a series where I'm going to be covering all of the biggest videos I've made and breaking down how I made certain things look the way they did, some of the animation techniques I used, the transitions, bits about the background footage, scripting, where the ideas came from, all of the juicy stuff nerds like me enjoy. And I thought, where else to start than with my biggest video of the previous year, which are the TF2 Mercs of Virgins. So, welcome one and all. Welcome to those who are trying to learn a bit more about video creation, and welcome to those who just enjoy the sound of me talking. Now, this first section here is a transitioning technique you're going to see me use quite a lot throughout my videos, just because I really like it. I think it's clean, and I think it gets the point across. So the object in question whips into place, and then I use the positioning and the keyframing to bounce it about a bit. And then when it whips out of place again, I bounce it slightly to the left, and then off it goes. I just think it's very clean, I think it works very well, and it looks great too. Nothing overly impressive towards the intro, it's mostly just pretty quick for the sake of being pretty quick. However, I will explain this whole vampire bit. You see, there's an inside joke between me and a few other TF2 YouTubers for an unreleased video which I don't entirely know if I can talk about yet. And amongst all those recordings, just somehow the idea of me being a vampire came to fruition, and it's a joke I am fully prepared to run into the ground. So this is why me and the wife and the cat are all vampires in this scene. And these are just stock images I got from, I think they're Amazon costumes or something. Now, in terms of everything else said here, I did spend a while going through all of the comics, but I enjoyed that. And I didn't go through every single item description. I went through all of Scouts, because there were some very interesting ones there. And in terms of other things, this is going to be interesting for me to say, because I don't swear. I never actually say the word, for capturing someone else's objective. I never actually say that word during the video. I just use TF2 related innuendos, and I think that's really funny. It just adds another layer of charm, and I like it. This was a fun video to make, but at the same time, this was also a video that I knew was going to do quite well, just because of the absurdity of the topic. Now, this glitch transition is another one you're going to see a lot, because I think it's really nice. I have a folder of glitching sound effects, and I have some basic glitch transitions, and whenever I use the two, it looks good. And if there's anything Lon'qudor views like, it's these little portraits of the Mercs. I have folders upon folders of these little portraits. I make them all in Adobe Illustrator. They're a combination of some renders of some of the Mercs taunts combined with this photo frame I created, and usually a blurred map in the background, but sometimes the map's unblurred. I experiment here and there. But I like to use a fresh set of these every time I talk about the Mercs in a video. I don't like to use the same pictures twice, which means I have quite a lot of them. Again, it's little things like that you wouldn't really think about if you were just watching a video offhanded, yet I desperately try to make my videos not too repetitive, whilst also talking about the same kind of things. So yes, Soldier has a fiance, and also watching this video with Comic 7 retrospective is pretty crazy. Oh hey, look, a transition. Just there, I did have quite a few transitions I could have used, but I thought it just would have been funny to say, oh look, a transition. Something like that. Try to make it look like you're running out of ideas for comedic effect. Some people didn't like the idea of taking this as canonical proof that Scout isn't a virgin, but I didn't like the idea that this was just a hallucination. This seems pretty real in his mind, anyway. And now that Comic 7's out, I don't really have to worry about proving this one anymore. These transitions here, I think, are pretty sweet. These are just a stock Premiere Pro swirly transition in combination with some keyframing and some rotation. And then these transitions here are a combination of the glitch transition and like a kind of static glitch effect that goes over the image. I think they all just flow really nicely together, and I'm pining to use them again at some point. And I also sometimes create silhouetted versions of the portraits for the Mercs if I want to build up a bit of mystery as to what I'm going to be talking about, yet still show the Merc I'm going to be talking about. Oh, the whole idea of Medic having a wife and Demo, having his way with her is so funny. And it was also something that was not confirmed in Comic 7. And also, I really like this edit. I think that's funny. I forget that most of the footage I recorded for this video was recorded around the week of October 20th, like before the 25th, because I actually went away for Halloween last year to go stay with the wife's parents, and it was good fun. So even though this video came out, you know, I think around the 7th of November, most of the footage, by the time I really used it, was either several weeks or a month old. And then with this conclusion, I knew people would get angry at me if I didn't say that this was confirmation, so I just thought I would count it. And then these 4 Mercs, these ones were controversial. As I say here, there is absolutely no evidence one way or the other to suggest that any of these Mercs have done anything, with Sniper actually being the most controversial on the list. People continuously told me as if it was fact that Sniper and Scout are the same age because of around the time that New Zealand was sunk into the ocean in the comics. This was later confirmed, subtly, to not be true, because in the final panel of the comics, Sniper is seen with greying hair, and Scout is not. So I was right in saying that Sniper is probably somewhere in his mid-40s to early 50s. People did not believe me, and I'm happy to be right. Now, other editing things I should go over that I do. Whenever there is an image on screen, I like to add a roughen edges effect, and I also like to add a drop shadow. Roughen edges just kind of helps to immerse a square image into a more rounded video, if that makes any sense at all. Does to me anyway. And then the drop shadow is always nice to have things stand out from the background. Ever since about October, actually, I've been thinking of changing my font style in my videos. So back in October, I initially changed from a font called Comfort Art to one called Party Confetti, because it's kind of like the TF2 font, and that's what I wanted to go for. Something like the TF2 font, yet distinct enough to be recognizable with my content. And I like to add a border of the colors of my logo around it, but recently I've been thinking about removing that, because it might be nicer. And it also might help the white text to stand out on a green background instead of having a green border on a green background. It's just food for thought, really. Pretty much the same transitions and whatnot happening here. This engineer gameplay, I know for a fact this is the very first piece of footage I recorded for this video, which would have been somewhere around the 11th of October. It might interest some of you to know that the idea for the video always comes first, and then the footage, and then the making of the video, and then sometimes I'll just simply have to go back and record footage for things I didn't know I'd need later down the line. So the basic idea is concept, footage, editing, but it's not always concept, footage, editing. Sometimes it's concept, footage, editing, editing, footage, editing, concept. You know, it's a linear journey. I know what I want the video to look like when I go into it. I never know how it's going to turn out, and I think that is the exact same for everyone else. Everyone has a vision, and everyone knows how they want the big bits of their video to turn out, but it's actually the smallest bits in between that you struggle with the most, because point A and point B are already created, you just have to figure out how to get there. So no vision is 100% visionized with any video, but I'm generally good enough at Premiere Pro, I'm good at Premiere Pro, to get from point A to point B relatively smoothly and uniquely. You probably noticed as the video has gone on there have been less editing techniques overall, as in no new things that I haven't already shown in the video, and that is intentional. It is intentional, 1, because it's easiest for me to continue working on the video, 2, because viewer watch times generally don't make it as far into the video as you might think they do, and 3, because, well, it does save time. But what I'm trying to say is the video gets simpler the longer it goes on, and that's not a bad thing in the slightest. It's easier for me to make, and it's easier for those who want to listen to digest. Which is why I haven't really had to cut up this developer commentary ever since about the 3-minute mark, because there's just things have gotten simpler as they go on. I like this section of the video. It's designed to look like I'm going off script, going off tangent, but it's entirely intentional, and I feel it accomplishes it pretty well. We're moving on to the final of our Mercs, Heavy. So it seems that Heavy probably hasn't had the best of lives. Oh, this. I have been asked many times if this is a real phone call I received from my wife during the recording of this video, or is this simply just me on my app making a noise. This was a real phone call. She phoned me mid-recording. I forgot to turn my phone off. to just chat. I think she was on break. And, well, I did not tell her what I was recording because I don't think she would have been happy with the idea of me talking about this kind of thing. So, yeah, that is a real phone call. And, well, she found out afterwards of what I was recording. And then her dad also watched it. So that was a fun conversation. Looking at this Poker Night clip here, I forgot to add a drop shadow. I am very, very sorry for that. There's always a mistake in every video, just like there is with every video on YouTube. And also, I just find this really funny, the idea that Heavy really likes red-haired women and he wants Tycho's girl. I think that's seriously funny, the idea that they work something out. That has to go into the video. I don't take myself very seriously. I think too many people take themselves too seriously when talking about video games. They are not that serious of a topic. If this counts as, you know, proof that Heavy's not a virgin, then so be it. That's funny. Uh-oh, upcoming image. Yeah, so I desperately avoided making any and all jokes related to Heavy and his minigun having a relationship, and that image of Natasha I just thought was really funny. I think it's linked down below, or was, under this video anyway. Oh yes, commenting Heavy the Chad to show that you made it this far into the video. I've never done that before, but hundreds, and I mean hundreds of people commented Heavy the Chad, which was a really nice thing to see, so thank you if you did that. Oh yes, the whole deleted tweet thing. So I'm going to come out and say it much more politely than I did in the video. I think you're an idiot if you believe a deleted tweet is canonical proof of anything, even if it comes from the writers. Unless it's actually, you know, implemented into the source material in some way, it's not, you know, it's not canon. So I don't personally believe Miss Pauline is a lesbian, and I don't think they acted upon that in the comics either. Or, you know, maybe not in Comic 7, I'm not too sure. The administrator and Saxton Hill, yep, we know they are, because of that one funny line in the Direct Hit comic. This is how I've always known it. Oh, this was a speedrun section, I remember that. Yeah, I think the Mann brothers, I think they're, you know, no one's going to say they are. They've spent their entire lives bickering over nothing, and they have no heirs. So I think I'm pretty confident in saying that they are, you know, pure. I think it's safe to assume that they haven't ever done anything with anyone before. And the last of the Mann brothers and the last. Oh, and lastly, Grey Man, the thousands of you who told me that Olivia was his adopted daughter, and once again provided no proof at all, was interesting. If you're gonna say something like that in the comments, I really do recommend at least providing some sort of proof. And the answer to the problem is there is no proof, because that's never been proven. Once again, someone said once that everyone parroted with no one else looking up at all. And then the outro. The outro is a track called Wish Come True from Persona 5 Royale. I tried avoiding, you know, Persona music for the longest time in my videos, but it became inevitable. It had to happen. So that's it for the main video analysis, but this little section here at the bottom I'm going to call Headspace. This is where I'm going to talk about some of the most frequently asked questions about the video, or just my editing overall, all that kind of stuff, give off any extra thoughts I didn't really have any time for in the main recording. So we'll start with some brief thoughts on my video overall, and then we'll get into some editing, and then we'll get into the questions. So, brief thoughts overall. This was my most popular video of 2024, and I want to thank you all for that. This was a video I knew was going to be popular. Sometimes you can tell, sometimes you can't. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. But this was a video I knew was going to be popular just because of how absurd of a topic it was on. And despite how absurd this topic was, I think I handled it pretty professionally whilst also not taking myself very seriously, something I mentioned earlier that I like to do. And overall, I think this is a pretty good video by my standards. It's in my newer echelons of videos, which is the Top Monty playlist, which is why I plugged it earlier. Basically, any video outside of that playlist I am not proud of. Ever since September and October, my channel has gone through a major editing rehaul, and pretty much everything that came before it I actively dislike. And I don't recommend you watch unless you are just, that interested in listening to me talk, even with a bad microphone. As a thank you for pledging to my Patreon or YouTube membership, I will give you some non-publicly available stats on this video. So as of recording this right now, this video has 198,000 views. That is the second most popular video on my channel, and I could not be more grateful. The watch time is at 17.2 thousand hours. And I have gained 4,200 subscribers from this video. That is the most amount of subscribers I have ever gained from a video. But not the first video to garner me over 1,000 subscribers. That would actually be my Five Nights at Freddy's video. So in terms of frequently asked questions about the video, why? And the answer is, for the funny. I don't take TF2 very seriously, and I think far too many people take this silly shooty hats game far too seriously. Another question I had frequently asked to me underneath the video was, am I gay? And I think I answered earlier that I have a wife, so that's interesting. In terms of other general video questions, how long did this video take to make? Depends. Since I started recording footage just about when Scream Fortress came out, and this video was published in the first week of November, I guess you could consider that part of the time. To me, personally, recording footage might take about 2 days. I don't like to play TF2 for very long sessions. An average TF2 session for me is around 2 hours. So that's about 2 hours worth of footage, and that's not normally enough. Not normally enough for like a 9-minute video, anyway. That is how things work. I have to do a lot of editing. So it might take around 2 or maybe even 3 days to get and garner all the footage I need. And then the actual editing process takes a while. Now with my new editing style, I like to split my video up into goals per day, and I like to finish all video editing at 6 PM. However, currently as I record this, it's 2 AM, so I clearly failed on this front today, but oh well, it needed to be done. I don't really have an answer for how long this video took to make, because you could consider it over a month, or you could just consider it 7 days. Call it 6 to 7 hours a day working on a video for about 5 days. That's how long it might have taken editing wise. But this video did very well. It did abnormally well. I predicted it was going to do well. I did not predict it was going to do this well, and I am eternally grateful. In terms of other things I guess I should talk about, I will have a more informative video about all of my video basics coming up, like the green circles in the background, for example. I'll have a separate video dedicated to all that kind of stuff, the basic stuff I like to do. So look out for that if it isn't up already. But for now, I think we'll probably call that there. Thank you very, very much everyone for watching, and I will see you later down the sunny road.